My name is Gary Evans. What we're doing is to a benefit concert. We lost our son 3 years ago on a motorcycle accident, and since then each year we've done a benefit concert to try to help somebody else who's been impacted in the same way through getting hurt in a motorcycle. Hi, darling. Love you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
See you guys later. And you know, we've got some friends who are in the band. Middle Fingers, they're our good buddies. They're great friends with our son, and so they've adopted us since we lost John Cole, and they've been the feature band each year that we've done the concert. This year, Big Daddy's was nice enough to let us borrow their facility, and I think we've raised about $1,000 to help a couple of folks that the husband had a motorcycle accident about 6 weeks ago, and he's out of work. They're long-distance truckers, and neither one of them been able to work since the wreck. And so we're going to put a few dollars in their pocket and try to ease them through this period, rough period in their lives.
Your son was killed on 129?
Yeah, 129, but not on what they call the Dragon. He was just north of, or just south of Chilhowie Dam when he crashed, and his injuries resulted in his death, but he lived for about 11 weeks after the wreck. And
did he regain consciousness?
Yeah, he got to the point where he could actually communicate. He was able to. He had a high neck injury, and so he was pretty well paralyzed. But he got to the point where he could communicate with us, and he knew who he was and where he went to school, and had some basic understanding of what had happened. And but then after about halfway through the period, he went downhill, and of course it ended up in his death.
What safety gear was he wearing?
He had all the gear. The only actual injuries he had, well, he had broke his wrist, broke his pelvis, but as far as road rash and that kind of thing, he had one little strawberry on his arm, one little strawberry on his shoulder, and that was it. But he had all the gear.
So that just says that even with full gear, it's not a guarantee.
It just takes hitting just exactly the wrong way. And he managed to land on his on the back of his head and his shoulder, and that's what tore his neck loose. And it's one of those 1 in a million chances.
So, any advice you can give people for riding the Dragon?
Well, you got to wear the gear. That's absolute. You got to be careful. You really need to know what you're doing. There's so many people up there that don't even know how to keep it in their lane, much less how to ride a road that's got that many curves.
Yeah, I know. I've been riding a long time, and I still am scared of that road. It's just such a challenge. I'm always learning something, as old as I am. And, you know, I think a lot of young people go up there to try to compete, and they don't just try to learn.
Yep. I agree with that 100%. We followed so many people through that road that it was obvious they didn't know what they were doing. I followed a guy through there one time who was a professional motorcycle racer, but he was a drag racer.
Yeah.
And he couldn't keep it in his lane at 20 miles an hour. It was sad, really.
Yeah, that's the challenge. The guys have been up there a lot, keep it in their lane more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And if they get out of their lane, they know where it's safe to do that, because they've done it 1,000 times.
Yeah. Well, there's places where you can see.
Where you can see
what's coming, and so you can kind of judge what's safe and what's not. But so many people get across the line
in a blind curve,
and it's because they just can't do it any better than that. You know, it's all they can do is keep it.
Well, that's the beauty of the road, is it's got so many curves. You have to practice going around curves instead of just going down a 4-lane straightaway.
Yep.
And it's a real workout for me.
It is.
So.
We don't go up there on the weekends, you know. We'll ride up there occasionally during the week.
It's not much fun up there anymore. You can talk to people, but you can't really ride it.
Yep.
Except in the evening.
We've lived right there on the end of the Dragon for 30 years. And for years we avoided it, but we started riding it some since we lost our son, sort of in his memory, because that was one of his favorite places.
Now, is that a dragon shirt you got on there?
Well, this is the shirt we did for this year's concert, and this is Cole, his picture. We try to do a memorial t-shirt for each concert. This is the third concert we've done, and you'll see the back.
Yeah. All right.
So, just trying to help other people out, trying to make something positive out of what was a huge negative for us.
Yeah, I've done accident investigation for lawyers in death cases, and it's always sad, and people try to learn something to try to make it safer for other people, and you know, it's tough. You don't always win those cases. Sometimes you try, and you just can't. There's nothing to win for the family. You can't pay the medical bills for them. And
yep, that's it. Well, it's like this, what we're doing this week. Doing tonight, the girl and her husband, he had his wreck. They're already $250,000 in the medical bills. You know, we're going to give them a few $100s out of this to help them out, but we're not going to touch the medical bills. There's no way.
Yeah, if they can't pay cash, they'll have to declare bankruptcy. And the sad thing is I've had people tell me they're petrified that they would rather sell everything they own than put a doctor in that situation, because they're afraid the doctor will cut corners and kill their family member. And they've told me that.
Yeah.
And they would rather lose their whole pension, lose their house, everything, just to try to keep the doctors from cutting corners.
Well, my opinion on that is that some of the things that doctors charge for, it's way more than what it's worth.
And they don't even have
not want to record this.
Well,
I'm way negative on the medical industry.
No, that's good. That's good. People need to hear from experience.
Well, when Cole was in the hospital, one of the neurologists, he did this. He spent about 15 minutes with Cole. Granted, he had the training. Granted, he had the experience. All this, but he wanted to charge $5,000 for 15 minutes of his time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. They talk about let's reduce the cost of health care. Let's do this, let's do that. Well, it's not going to happen until they reduce what doctors charge for what they do. And because there's too many doctors that think their time is worth way more than what it is. I realize they save lives, they do good things, but doctors don't operate in a free market.
Yeah.
Doctors operate in a market where the buyer is constrained by the fact that they have to have the doctor's service. And the doctors take advantage of that by charging whatever they want to charge. And we'll never get the cost of health care in this country under control until doctors back off a little bit from what they're charging people for.